Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Exploring DC, where we take a piece of DC and explore it with you. I am your host, Josh. With me is my co host, Jackson, and back is Jalen. How are we guys doing?
Hello, hello, hello. We are doing great, 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 great. How are we doing, you guys?
The word of the day is dongle.
Dongle?
That is the word of the day.
Mark the calendars.
Second word of the day is vending machine.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Yo, you have your water today, Jackson?
dude, I got so okay. So if you want a fun lore drop about this water bottle, I
Yeah.
accidentally left it in a restaurant that was like being built on a film shoot. Like, oh shit, there's still paint on this. About like a month ago, and I finally got it back yesterday. So I'm back with like my nice water bottle. So my water drinking is like way up.
That's good.
Hmm.
You gotta stay hydrated.
Yeah.
My one random thing is that I showed you guys, at least I showed Jackson that I spent money and bought the big Dune Lego set, like the
Yes.
giant ornithopter. I
Oh,
also had to support the one Lego non-Batman set we got in like forever, dude. I got the little Superman guy.
Oh, nice.
oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Honestly, it doesn't make sense that it's not a Lex Luthor mech, but
Yeah.
I don't care. Got a
It's
little
Superman.
Lex Luthor too. He actually looks
Oh,
pretty
cool.
cool. So
Yeah, he
That's a
looks
nice
sick.
anyway,
thing.
I am probably gonna go ham on Superman merch this summer. Like I'm not even gonna lie. I'm full in this. But that is not the agenda for this week. This week we were talking about a very interesting one. I told you guys I was like I want to cover this movie because I find it fascinating that it exists and especially that it's a sequel.
Yeah.
So for context, back in 2018, DC has not done a lot of anime and not a lot of productions with their Warner Brothers Japan production studio. They put out this movie called Batman Ninja, and I remember it coming out and being a thing at the time, and then like silence, like nothing happened with it. And now, like 6 years later, we got a sequel to it, Batman Ninja vs. Yakuza League, and it is a fascinating one. I'm so ready to dive into. Let's start here. What is our experience with anime? Are we big into it, or is it like a fresh genre for us?
I am very much uncultured in anime. That is like an
Okay.
area of like film and TV where I am like very much lacking. I want to change that. I've been meaning to change that for like years now. And this might have been the final push I needed.
Yeah?
Jesus fucking Christ. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead here, but like every movie we've covered on this podcast up till now has been a relatively normal movie. So
Yeah.
this was just so bizarre.
This
Very
movie
out
felt like a
there.
fever dream. This was this
Yeah,
was
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
this was an interesting one, but like I have been wanting, like Jackson, I've been wanting to get into anime. So much. I've been like, if people have been telling me to watch Dragon Ball Z, Jujutsu Kaisen and all this other stuff, right? But I've never like it's never really been like for me. I mean, I've tried multiple times. I've tried to watch like stuff like Yu Yu Hakusho and all that. But this man, I have no words for
Yep.
anime after this, man.
Yeah. For me, it's always been I've liked anime films a lot more than TV,
I've
you
seen a
know?
couple films as well. I've seen definitely more anime films than TV
Right.
on my end.
But like I loved a lot of the Studio Ghibli stuff that I
Yeah.
watched. I've seen some other stuff along those lines. With TV, I think it's and we'll get into the genre, but like I think it's a lot to handle for me of like 22 episodes of anime style stuff. And people are like, "Dude, you need to watch One Piece. It's only 400 episodes." I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. I'm just not."
I love how they say
But
it's only 400 episodes. Like that isn't like
literally,
like we have time for to just sit
it's
down and watch 400
insane.
episodes of something.
But yeah, let's get into this one. This one's called Batman Ninja vs. Yakuza League. Synopsis here. The Batman family has returned to the present to discover that Japan has disappeared and a giant island, Hinamoto, is now in the sky over Gotham City. At the top sit the Yakuza, a group of superpowered individuals who reign without honor or humanity and look suspiciously like the Justice League. Now it's up to Batman and his allies to save Gotham.
This
This
is
one,
awesome. This is a
yeah,
Tokyo Drift level like Yakuza plotline. I love it.
a little background stuff. Directed by Junpei Mizuzaki, who did the first one, but this one now he's co-directing with Shinji Takagi, and then written by the same writer of the last movie, Kazuki Nakashima. Real quick, Jackson, composer is Yugo Kano.
There was some sick music in this. There was some music cues that were so awesome.
I
love
the Batman Superman. When the Batman Superman fight was happening.
Yeah,
loved
that
it.
was sick. That was sick.
They're going crazy.
There's this bit that kind of made me chuckle where they're basically like trying to do the Williams theme as much as they humanly can without actually like violating international copyright laws, and that did make me chuckle. But like, that aside, I genuinely really enjoyed the music for this. It matched the tone of the film really well.
Right, I completely agree. It's okay. With cast, I have to ask you guys. I assume watched it dubbed. Both.
I watched it dubbed. Yeah,
I watched it dubbed.
Okay. I did the same thing. I felt like that makes sense when they're not from Japan, and they're going into Japan. It makes more sense than like entirely in Japanese. But it's the same Japanese voice cast from the first Batman Ninja. The thing is, though, the English voice cast is entirely different.
Oh,
so
really?
The first voice cast had like Roger Craig Smith played Batman.
Oh, what the fuck?
What?
Right,
Oh,
who's played Batman before?
Okay.
Tony Hale did the Joker. Grey Griffin did Catwoman. Tara Strong's Harley Quinn. Fred Tatasciore, who knows our friend Jet Moore, played Gorilla Grodd. And then even Yuri Lowenthal voiced two of the Robins. He did Red Hood and Damian Wayne. The second movie, Yakuza League, none of that. Joe Daniels plays Batman. Houston Hayes, Nightwing. Nathan Wilson, Red Robin. Bryson Balgus, Robin. No notable voice actors on the level of the first voice cast.
That's interesting.
So let me ask: was there like This is a question for you, Josh. Was there like a budget decrease in this movie from Batman Ninja?
See, maybe on the voice cast level, I think it was just the space between the projects that maybe caused some of them to not come back.
It was what? The first one's 2018?
Yeah. Because I don't think, with some of the fights that we get in this movie, it is by no means a scaled down version of what we got from the first movie.
It was insane.
Yeah.
You're right. So did you, any voices stand out as good, bad, or all kind of...
Whoever played Harley Quinn in this movie needs to be taken off the fucking mic.
Yeah.
I thought, like, the voice cast around the board was, like, got the job done, but, like, I could not stand Harley Quinn in this movie, just period.
Whoever played
That was
Superman,
me with Damian Wayne, dude.
Really? Yeah. Whoever played Superman brought it. Like, whoever played Superman and Aquaman.
So
those
good.
two,
And they gave Superman sunglasses.
Yeah.
They gave him sunglasses. He was just aura farming. Like, what the fuck?
Even Wonder Woman, I thought, was really cool.
Guys,
I was liking the Justice League a lot.
Can I cut to the chase on this?
Go ahead, man.
This is probably my favorite, like, of the... hands down my favorite of the new movies that I've seen on this podcast, because we've gone through 4 or 5 now, and I think this is, like, hands down the best one I've seen.
Over the Lego Batman movie?
No, I'd already seen that. I'm talking about ones that I hadn't seen previously.
Of new experiences.
I'm not like you. Yeah. I'm not like I'm not like you, Jalen. I had seen the Lego Batman movie. But my point being, it's like it reminded me of what it's like to like down an entire bottle of cough syrup and watch like Donnie Darko or some shit. It's a trip, man. It's a trip. This movie's fucking nuts. There's a scene where Robin, like, I couldn't even tell you what the fucking context was. Like, maybe one of you know, but like, there's a scene where Robin like pauses and looks at the camera and says like some shit like ninja science, vending machines.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's awesome. I love it. Like
science ninja technique, bro.
Yeah, science ninja technique. That's what it was. Vending machine. And I'm like, what the fuck? Sure. Like, why the hell not? I was dying, man. This shit is awesome. It's like, and it was even like, it added to the trippiness by not. I meant to watch the first one. I usually will not watch a sequel if I have not seen the original. Like, it's just this big pet peeve of mine. I can't jump in the middle. Like, my dad will say, you need to watch this episode of this show, but it's like season 6, episode 13. And I'm like, no, Dad, I have to watch all, 6 seasons leading up to that before I watch that episode. And then I never do it because I'm lazy. But I had the same thing with movies where it's like, I can't jump in on a sequel. But for some reason, this time I did. And I've never done that. And it was just such a bizarre experience because it was like, all right, it's Batman Ninja 2. How tied into the first one can it be? And the answer is a lot. Clearly, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, because you watched both. But
Yes.
does this pick up like literally immediately after the first one?
I'm gonna slightly agree with you and disagree with you because I watched the first one, right? And you
Uh-huh.
guys didn't. The first one is also wild. It's like Batman gets sent to
Yeah.
feudal Japan, and it's this big scheme by Gorilla Grodd, and basically he sent all the villains back years prior. So now they all own like sections of feudal Japan, and
Yeah.
they're all raging war with each other. It's actually pretty cool. But then
Yeah.
it gets insane in the third act because they have giant like mech Titan battle
Yeah,
things.
they reference that.
Right, and it goes completely off the rails, and there's like a giant Batman thing. It's a whole
Uh-huh.
thing. This one does pick up immediately after it, and it
Okay,
kind of
that's what I
like,
thought.
but it doesn't tie into the events of that previous movie.
No, I understood everything just fine, but it was just more like on a vibe level. I think it to me
Yeah, if you're not used
played
to
like
it.
yeah, it played like you were already in sync with the movie. And I don't know if the first one's that way, but
The first one kind of just also like he acclimates to the craziness really fast. This one is way more bonkers, but the first one he even like he's like, "Oh, I'm in feudal Japan."
yeah.
And then 10 minutes later he's vibing with everything. And I sent you guys the picture, at least you Jackson in the group chat, of him with his shaved head and the bat symbol on his
Yeah,
forehead.
that's
That's like
fucking wild.
that's like 10 minutes into the movie. Like he's
Oh my
acclimated
God.
super fast. It goes crazy.
Well, that's the thing with the second one is like it felt like it had when did this drop? How long ago?
March.
March.
So
Okay.
about a month ago for us right now.
Yeah, this felt like it had like a 5 act structure.
Yeah.
Like there were like it's like that meme where it's like holy shit, there's still breaking news. Holy shit, there's still 30 minutes left in this movie.
No,
I had that like that happened to me like 3 times, but like in a good way.
I
Yeah.
felt the exact same way for like the Superman Batman fight. I was like, dude, there's no way that there is still fucking 29 minutes left in this
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
You're not looking
Yeah.
at it, and it says an hour and 5, and we still have 24 minutes left in the movie. And I'm like, yo, what is going on, man? It was like being taken on like an acid trip or something. This entire freaking movie.
Yeah. Okay, let's play a thing here, Jalen. I'm gonna bring it to you. Explain the basic structure of this plot line. Give me the
Okay,
rundown.
alright.
Like
So-
say I'm a new viewer
Yo,
right now.
all right, yeah. I'm excited for this.
All right. So, the movie opens up, and how do you even start this? Like, the movie opens up, and we see that.
It's a rains out of the sky. It's easy.
Yeah, literally, there is a machine of just Yakuza people, and like that are literally bottled up in their like toy figures, and they drop out the sky, like they shoot out the sky with a freaking cannon, and feudal Japan appears over Gotham. And Batman and Robin go into feudal Japan, except for this is so freaking convoluted. The more that I'm talking about it,
Yeah.
but Batman and Robin go into feudal Japan and meet the Yakuza version of the Justice League, and so much shit.
Barry Allen's on speed.
Barry Allen
Yeah.
is on speed. Oh, that's another person who stood out to me. The voice actor for Barry Allen was like giving it. You know, every single line was exaggerated, like going full like this and all that other stuff. Like it was great.
Barry Allen in this movie loves to remind you that he's the fastest man alive. He really wants to make sure that you know that.
He is. Barry the Lightfoot is or whatever they were calling him.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first movie, right? The Gorilla Grodd made this whole scheme to control feudal Japan.
Uh-huh.
And it ends with there's like this I forget what the device is called, but it's the device that sends them back and forth through time. The Quake converter. They use the Quake converter thing to get back to regular time. A day later, just this thing opens up in the sky. Yeah, feudal Japan, Yakuza are flying down. Immediately they're like, let's just fly into it and see what's going on. And they notice that the whole Justice League has just disappeared. And they're not like super upset or anything by it. They're just like, okay, this is odd. They go into feudal Japan actually this one isn't feudal Japan now. Now it's like a more modern Japan.
Yeah.
And Yakuza are everywhere. And the whole thing was that we find out, let's get into it. Ra's al Ghul made this whole scheme, and he's like, I'm gonna change. It's kind of like Red Sun, where he changes things in history. So Superman drops in Japan, and Aquaman
Yeah.
and Wonder Woman grow up in Japan, and so does Jessica Cruz and Barry Allen. And he changes things so now all the Justice League members have like these Yakuza backstories. When they first introduced the whole idea of all these Justice League members were just like mind washed into becoming Yakuza members, I thought it was gonna be very simple. I kind of like how they set it up with Raj Al Ghul changing history so they have these new backstories.
Yeah.
It's silly, but like in a way that kind of works for me.
No, dude, I was on board with this movie the whole time. Anything it
Yeah.
did, I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, it was just kind of like a fuck it, we ball mentality. It's like, yeah, you can throw whatever you want at me, man. I'm here. This shit's crazy. I
Yeah.
love it.
How did we feel about the Justice League themselves? Obviously, they're not acting like themselves, but did we like the team lineup and how they switched things up with them?
I really, really, really liked Aquaman and Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was definitely, I think, the standout member for me. Well, I mean, they all kind of had like their own differences and similarities to like their normal main timeline, main universe version. But like the feud, but like also the respect between Aquaman and Wonder Woman and their battle was like
That was dope.
crazy. Yeah, that was crazy. That was insane.
I felt it. I felt the like tension there, and they set up these fights really well for the short amount of screen time they had. Even the Superman Batman one, I was locked in, man.
Yeah,
That score's blasting.
it was
like,
awesome. It was awesome.
It's so cool.
There's like a visceral element to how they animate Superman in this because he'll just come chasing after like Batman flying around, and it's
Yeah.
like you feel the speed. It's really, really well done.
I will say, I think they stepped up a lot of the action compared to the first one. The first one
Interesting.
is also kind of wild, but in a way that feels just a little more random and like they're just throwing things. This one does feel like it's kind of all over the place, but at the same time, it feels a lot more structured than the first one.
Yeah.
And I understood why things were. When in the first one, they have these giant mech islands and stuff. They don't explain like how that happens, especially in feudal Japan. In this one, I'm like, I get why all the Justice League are doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And nothing feels out of place. I will say though, the one character does feel out of place. I gotta talk about it. Damian Wayne. I don't understand what he's doing. He's like not paying attention the whole movie. Rachel
Yeah.
Gold's talking to him and he's like sleeping, and then he's like making all these little jokes. I don't think it felt like to what I know of Damian Wayne. It felt
Yeah.
very weird.
And the haircut bit was kind of wild. Like
Yeah.
it was like they went so far with it too. It was like they were like that was Damien that had the shitty haircut, right?
In the first one, yeah, he had like the
No,
Japanese haircut. But
I'm
his hair on the
talking
sides
about
and stuff.
I'm talking about at the start of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean they were like going after him. They were like going for the throat. I thought and then also there was like this really bizarre like tornado bit where it's like the movie pauses to explain to you what technically is a tornado.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, huh,
ridiculous.
that's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time they did science ninja technique, it was the best thing
Amazing.
ever.
10 out of 10.
That's exactly how every movie should be with their
Yes.
gadgetry. Science technique.
That's
Oh my
like
gosh.
vending machines.
Vending
Yeah.
machines.
How did we feel about Batman in this one, Jalen?
I mean, he was, Batman, in my opinion, is just always going to be Batman.
Yeah.
He is like always just going to be like that badass person that just has everything figured out. I like how they brought in the Tower of Babel plans a little bit.
Yep. I agree.
To make sense as to how to defeat each member of the Justice League. And like I said, bro, that Superman Batman fight was like the highlight of the entire freaking movie, in my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Also, his suit was like really, really, really cool, and it felt like they took a lot of the Arkham games. I don't know if that was like the idea there, but it felt sick.
I like most of the designs in this one.
Yeah, I
like
agree.
what they did with the Justice League's Yakuza designs, which are based off kind of modern Edo period Japanese aesthetics. Not because feudal Japan was the vibe of the first one, so completely different looks. And then I like how Batman looks. I love how Red Hood looks in this movie. Some of the Robins and stuff. It all looks really cool to me. I think
Yeah.
they do a great job. And I don't know, man. I feel like I wasn't on board when I first watched Batman Ninja all these years ago, but now I'm rewatching these and watching this new one, and I'm like, I really enjoy the aesthetic and tone of DC anime when it's like full on.
It's very unhinged.
Yeah.
And I fuck with that because, like, again, a lot of the DC animated movies that we've watched so far are just like aggressively normal to the point where they become like very stale.
Yeah,
This was not. This was just fucking insane.
I agree.
Yeah,
It's
so like let me ask like so I mean because like I said I'm not that well versed in anime. So like let me ask, is this like a consistent thing? Well, how is like I know this is like a little off topic from the DC thing, but like how is like Star Wars Visions? Because I know that is also
Well, Star Wars Visions,
in
like each, it does reach like there are certain episodes that definitely carry this energy, but it's not consistent across the board because like each Visions episode, at least in season one, because season one is all anime and season two is different like studios. In Visions Volume One, since it's each one is done by a different studio, it has like this. Each one feels completely fucking different from each other.
yeah,
But like, there's the one with the twins was fucking wild. Like that one was, they're like fucking battling on the top of a star destroyer in space and like yelling at each other, and it's some of those episodes
and
get
that's
real
like
crazy.
anime is
that's like an
not
anime.
a singular tone, but it
Yeah.
definitely has its feel, right? Like you can feel it compared to Western animation.
Hmm.
The difference here, this is less of like your Studio Ghibli, more traditional, like down to earth anime. It's a way more Dragon Ball, Naruto.
Yeah.
Like this is the type of stuff you see One Piece. That's what this kind of is, like dialed up, just insane fights. People are just screaming and shouting all the time. But like, I I thought the emotions were there. Honestly, like I understood where everyone was at for the most part, except for
Yeah.
Damien, who sucked in this movie. I loved the
Mhm.
I no man. I loved
I would
Superman's
honestly
like
say that
role.
Nightwing sucked a little bit too. I would
He
say
was
like I was
barely in
more
it.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would say I was more on board with Red Hood, especially with the vending machine shit,
yeah,
and like whatever it was that he kept attaching to Flash, he tried to make him inhale. I still don't know what that shit was, but I
Yeah.
would say Red Hood was definitely the coolest member of the Bat family in this movie that stood out to me.
one of my favorite camp moments in this one is the retro sequence. I think was
Yes.
wonderful.
Dude, I literally like I had to pause it for a second. Like, am I tripping? Like, what the
Yeah,
fuck is this? That it
apparent.
took me so off guard at first, but that was really. It reminded me of like Derek will love this. It reminded me of like classic G1 Transformers. Was my first thought.
Right. It is inspired by like 1970s like super robot cartoons is actually what it said. So it's based on one called Science Ninja Team Gatchaman, which is like that makes sense based on the vibe.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Uh,
it is kind of like
yeah.
Voltron, Transformers, G.I.
yeah,
Joe,
it
that
was
type
really
of thing.
cool.
And it was a bit I thought they were just going for it. I didn't realize it was going to be like a clip that Alfred put together. I thought they were just literally going to
When
do
it cut to Alfred like presenting that, I died. That was so funny.
so cool. Do we think Ra's al Ghul worked in this one? I feel like he could have got a little more screen time than what he
Yeah,
did.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like as a villain, it felt, I would have just loved if it was just like the Justice League themselves as the villain, maybe Superman as the villain more than
Yeah.
just like a lack, right, Ra's al Ghul.
I do like that they had a reason why they were there, though. So it makes sense that Ra's al Ghul was there, but like I wish he had more of a final act, especially towards the end, because you get that
Mhm.
awesome fight with Superman. And it's like coming off of that, the Ra's al Ghul stuff doesn't work as well. The animation top notch for me, man. It's looking
Yeah,
pretty good
it
for a
looked
direct
good.
to video
For
movie.
I would say it's the best looking one we've gone through so far, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
that's mostly because it's not traditional Warner Brothers
Yeah.
animation studio. That's Warner Brothers Japan out here doing stuff. They've only done a few DC things. I want to talk about that. DC anime, very limited so far. We've had Batman Ninja 1 and 2. They did a Suicide Squad anime isekai last year that no one watched. I don't think we're getting a second season of it. I'd have watched it, but and then they did this
Did
movie.
you say you watched it?
Mhm.
Was it good?
It was a lot more middle of the road.
Okay.
The thing with the Suicide Squad anime is that it's called isekai, which is this trope where they take characters from. It's like I guess similar to First Batman Ninja, but they take it like the Suicide Squad and they put them in like an anime world filled with monsters and stuff. So it
Oh,
doesn't really
interesting.
feel like DC. It just
Yeah.
feels like the Suicide Squad crossover thing, and
Yeah.
it's varying levels of success. I like these movies more. But they also did a movie called Batman Gotham Knight, which was like similar to Star Wars Visions back in 2008. They
Ooh.
did 8 short
I
films.
grew up on that.
Yeah, did you
I
like
grew up
that?
on
I haven't seen
That
it.
was amazing. Jackson, have you
Yeah.
seen it?
No, I have no idea what the hell you're
Dude,
talking about.
it is sick because it came out like right after I believe The Dark Knight. So there
Yep.
are some aspects of the shorts that take heavy inspiration from Nolan and
Hmm.
heavy inspiration from that universe. I believe at one point they tried to be like, "Oh, it's canon," but it really isn't canon. It's just a lot, you know what I mean? And there is one anime. Was the anime one? Was the anime short where he was going against Deadshot?
I don't know. I haven't
If I'm
seen
not.
it.
Oh, you
So
haven't seen it either.
no, I
Oh,
was
we gotta.
researching and I thought this was very interesting that
Well,
they
maybe
put this
maybe
Oh,
out
we
yeah,
back in
maybe we
definitely
should
development.
saw
yes, we
those.
should get on that at some point.
Yeah, those were
Absolutely.
sick, man. I fucking love those.
Yeah. So it's been pretty limited. Do we want to see more anime from DC, and like what would we want to see if they did more?
I want to see a. It's really random. I want to see
Yeah,
a katana anime.
that would be cool. Because I think it fits well with the
Yeah,
blade and
it definitely
everything.
does fit
Like you
well.
could get some
Hmm.
cool fights with katana.
Yeah, but also like the way that anime is like in like how anime does storytelling too. I feel like, with Katana's backstory of her entire family's soul being trapped in the sword that she uses to kill people
Yeah,
is like could go so hard with that anime level of storytelling.
I agree. I think honestly, if we want to do like large scale conflicts, I a lot of people didn't vibe with the new Lord of the Rings movie that came out, but something I liked about it is that they were able to do that big War of the Rohirrim conflict really intense because it was anime and they could just go full out with the army sequences and like maybe like my immediate thought is like Blackest Night where they did a big not that they have to adapt that but just that level of scale something like anime could really suit that and you get some really
Yeah.
cool stuff out of it. I honestly with this one I just had a great time. I had a good time with this one more than the first one I think. So
I will go back and watch the first one. I
you
did
should. It's
fuck.
very fun.
I will. I will go back and watch it. I didn't expect to fuck with this as much as I did.
My last point I wanted to get into real quick previously the past couple years, right? For the longest time, we've been getting multiple DC direct-to-video movies, about 3 to 4 a year.
Yeah.
Right now, as of there's nothing on the slate. That doesn't normally happen. Usually, everything has been announced like for the year. And Batman Ninja, I think, was just kind of a carryover of like this animation studio was working on this one. The only movie that they have in development that's like not really like dynamic duo level of like theaters or something is called Azteca Batman, and it's something made from like Latin America for Max, and it's just gonna go to that platform. Is this format dead now under the DCU? Are we gonna get more direct to video stuff? Because the Tomorrowverse ended, right? So
Yeah.
we're done with that, and there's nothing on the slate right now.
I think if the DCU becomes the new thing, they're not going to nickel and dime it off of fucking direct to DVD,
Yeah,
movies. I just don't think there's a financial point in that. But they should make 10 more of these, is what I'm getting at as
I
well.
think so.
I think that they should make 10, 15, 20, perhaps 30 more of these, maybe even make a whole cinematic universe.
We're at an interesting point because at the one hand, it's like these movies are very hit and miss. We've talked about All Star Superman, some of the and Wonder Woman a little bit, some of the other direct to video movies. It's kind of all over the place of like where you're
Yeah.
getting. But at the same time, this has been their bread and butter for 15 years now.
Yeah.
And even when like people talk about like how DC animation is better than Marvel, they cite back to that, not the Tomorrowverse, but the universe before that,
Yeah.
or even the old 90s cartoons and stuff. Animation has been their lifeblood while their
Yeah.
live action movies have struggled. And to see them maybe abandon that just to go all in on a cinematic universe is slightly concerning for me because I like that they do these.
No, I agree with you. Yeah.
So I don't exactly want them to go away. And it's a little saddening to me that we're only seemingly getting one this year. After the past couple years, I've been watching 4 or 5 a year.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I'm curious to see where they go. And I think the only reason this one came out is just because like I imagine it was in development for a while,
Yeah.
and they just like. Do we think we're gonna get a third one of this? I don't feel
I
like
hope
I've
so.
heard much noise about this movie yet.
I'm gonna be real. I don't think most people know it exists.
Because I heard when the first one came out, there was a lot of motion. I remember like people talking about it a little bit, even back in 2018, and it did decent on direct to video sales.
Yeah, I think something that hurt this though is that like it's not on HBO Max, right? It's not on any of the streaming platforms, and
No.
you actually got to go out and fucking rent it, which
Yep.
is kind of a pain in the ass. And
But that's
I don't know if
that's
that's a
how it's
rights
been.
thing. I know,
Yeah.
but I feel like it should go on Max. Like that would be the place to put it. I don't know. Is it a rights thing? Like I don't know why they're not doing that.
No, they go to Max after a couple months. I think they just you can make a quick little profit or whatever you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
off your because especially in the first couple weeks they sell it at full price and there are people that pay $20 just to watch it just to watch it
I
right
didn't
away.
realize it went to Max
Oh yeah,
after that. Okay.
yeah they do. They just months down the line and then
Yeah.
people discover it there. I don't think it's a bad business decision. I think it's what it is. I just hope that people like discover this one a little
Yeah.
more because I think the first one is a little slept on and then this one is going to be even more slept on. And it's sick. It's really cool,
Yeah.
and it's probably like the coolest version of like
y-
evil Justice League that we've gotten in a long time.
Yeah, and if you do recreational drugs, you should definitely do some before watching this.
Yeah, just go out there.
That's real.
That's
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 real.
that's my professional recommendation.
Listen to Jackson Wells, everybody. Do recreational drugs before you watch this fucking movie.
Yes.
All right.
It's never
Um,
too late to develop a minor substance abuse issue.
Yeah. So are we giving this one a thumbs up? Big
Dude,
approval from
I'm not
the
giving
crew.
this a thumbs up. I'm giving this 2 thumbs up.
There we go.
That's how much I enjoyed my time.
We're the stamp of approval from Exploring DC. Please
Would
go
watch
watch
again. Would watch again.
hashtag Batman Ninja.
Hashtag Batman Ninja.
That's all I got for that one. Unless you guys have anything to add, real quick.
I think we
got some
covered
news?
everything. Yeah, we got some news.
Yep. All right, news. Just a couple things here. They announced a Superman prequel novel. This is like the only novel I've heard about so far. It's called Welcome to Metropolis. It'll
Isn't
just
it
cover
like
a
a
little bit
children's novel?
of like it's like middle grade thing.
Oh, okay.
I just think it'll still be interesting to see if any revelations come out of it. I might check it out,
Yeah.
but it's not like low level where it's pointless to read it. I think it might be something there. Hopefully
Okay.
they do just like regular novels too. I like when they do novelizations of movies. I think that's
I
pretty
also
neat.
I like Star Wars tie-in novels. Like I know they can just retcon them whenever they feel like it, but
Yeah.
I do like every time, even with Andor, like they released the fucking Reign of the Empire Mask of Fear novel with Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, and Saw Gerrera, and that's been a good read. I've been enjoying going through that. Like I really enjoy the tie-in novels, and I wish that like Marvel and DC kind of, you know what really baffles me is the lack of like tie-in comics to these cinematic universes. Like I know there are some, but like you would think there would be more. Like the Riddler Year One comic was sick. I love that. I would love to see something like that in the world of Superman. You know, something for people who are really excited, getting some context as to what the universe is like, what's going on, what some sort of like little teaser almost, and you can tell some interesting stories in there too.
They don't do it on that level anymore.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
they're cool. I do wish that we kind of got more of those because I always find that kind of stuff really interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I
especially
think-
when it's a fucking universe that's built off of comic books. Like that makes sense to me.
Well, the thing too that we're entering Superman, and they've done this with other comic book stuff lately, where it's not the origin story, right?
Yeah.
It's the point that we're already a year in or so. And it's something I wish they did with Spider-Man. Like, I want to see the beforehand. It doesn't have to be in the first movie. I get why you're skipping the origin,
Yeah.
but like, let's just get it going.
Show me in a comic, yeah.
Show me in a comic. Show me in like a prequel little novel thing. I think this novel, like, it's not gonna give me much, but if it gives me a little sprinkling of like
Yeah.
early Daily Planet stuff, I'm gonna be curious. But that comes out in June, so a little bit before.
And
Superman.
there's 2 years. How far into Superman's career are we? 2 years? 1 year?
One year, I believe, not 2
Yeah,
years.
I think that there is some interesting time you could cover in between, him
agree.
starting in there. I in a comic, I think that could be cool.
Yeah. Let's move on. Superman Day. We did a little promo video, me and Jackson here. Behind the scenes video came out. We didn't get a trailer because you said
Yeah,
a trailer is a
what
little
the
far
fuck is
off.
a trailer? I hear that worries me.
The one thing I'll say is that like people were showing me graphics of like the Superman trailer stuff versus the Barbie trailer, and like because they have very similar release schedules of when
Yeah.
they're coming out. I guess that makes a little sense, but at the same time, I remember when movies used to put out a lot of marketing like 4 months beforehand, 6 months beforehand, and we're just at the point now where it's like more like 2 months beforehand is when we get everything. I don't like that.
But the Barbie graphic is so is it following a similar trajectory as Barbie?
Yes, very similar.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that. I for some reason, and I guess that's because it got so heavy in its marketing in the back half that you
Yeah.
kind of forgot how light it was.
The first
But that-
full
I
trailer
think-
came out in May for
I
Barbie.
think that's really. I think
Yes.
that's something worth considering then.
Yep.
Because I've been very critical. I wanted another trailer here for a minute, but if that is the case, then because I think that I even saw that they were going to do a very similar campaign to Barbie, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just like when they drop that second trailer, they got to go ham, and they also the thing that Barbie had that this doesn't is Oppenheimer. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like
true.
It had that Barbenheimer, and there's just you're not gonna be able to do that. It was Superman.
Yeah. And I think we're living off crumbs right now. And if we're living off crumbs, the general audience is like not seeing a lot that they should be seeing.
Yeah.
And we need to get people in the theater. But let's get into this one. We just got a lot of behind the scenes looks. We got some cool looks in Metamorpho, Hawkgirl.
Yeah, he looks great.
A lot of cool shots of the Superman suit, the Daily Planet and everything.
Yeah,
I thought it was really well done.
I'm
For
excited.
behind the scenes video.
It looks good. Looks
Yeah.
good.
Anyway, another thing real quick. Not much to talk about, but the Sandman Season 2 is coming out in July. That's tangentially related to DC, but the Netflix show is very cut off now at this point from
Yeah.
what they're doing. And also, there's the whole Neil Gaiman baggage now. So it kind of just feels like it's dead in the water. It's the final
Yeah.
season.
Dead
I didn't
on
really
arrival.
enjoy the first season. I thought it was not for me, so I'm not exactly too keen to watch this one, but just that it's like, just putting it out there that it's coming out around Superman, I guess, if anyone's interested in that. So, last thing I got for you guys, this guy got cast in Lanterns, Paul Ben Victor. He is playing a character called Anton. And let me give you the description of this character. An extraterrestrial devoted to exposing the truth and exacting vengeance against those who wronged his people. Consumed by a deep and unrelenting hatred for the law, he is determined to deliver justice on his own terms. Here's where it gets interesting. The rumor is that he is playing Atrocitus, or at least that's the fan theory and rumor. And that makes a lot of sense based on the character description. That is a big out there pick if we're doing... Sinestro already feels like we're going into the Lanterns lore. Putting Atrocitus there, who is a bigger guy, and he's a big villain. I mean, it's not like a small side character. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me that they're putting him in there, if that's what we're doing. This whole show is described kind of like True Detective style, but Green Lantern. It's a detective mystery show.
Yeah.
Them leaning into aliens, and especially Atrocitus, and we're getting into other Lantern Corps, because inherently, like, the Red Lanterns and the Orange Lanterns, it gets a little silly and far-fetched and out there compared to, like, if you're trying to go really grounded with Green Lantern.
Yeah.
I think that's cool that they're attempting that. I'm curious to see how it goes, though, because this is HBO proper. This is not, like, just Max. You know, Jackson, how are we feeling?
I mean, look, you're gonna roll your eyes when I bring this up. But like, I think Andor is proof that you can
Okay.
kind of. I know. Listen.
Yeah, all right,
Listen.
go ahead.
All right. In the first look, obviously I will take any excuse to talk about this show, but like in the fucking 3 episodes they just dropped, there is an entire subplot that culminates with, you know, a group of people that are fighting, basically doing a game of space rock paper scissors shoot,
Yeah.
and it is then followed by the most like harrowing and depressing hour of Star Wars ever. My point being is that you can do kind of weird, wacky things and also still keep it in a very grounded tone. You know what I'm saying? And I think season 1 of Andor did that too. And I'm only bringing up Andor because that seems to be, they're seeming to want to kind of have their adult HBO drama with this one, you know? Like it's DC,
Yeah.
like kind of like the Penguin, you know?
I think a better comparison here is the 2019 Watchmen HBO show.
That is a good
because
one as well. That is
Damon Lindelof is working on both shows, as far
I
as
forget
I'm
he was on that,
aware,
yeah.
right?
I
And
kind of forgot he was on that.
the whole thing is that, like, the Watchmen show, you would get these very deep exploration of race and class and all these
Yeah.
struggles, and obviously all the commentary on superheroes and stuff.
And
And then
Loop
at the same
Man.
time, you'd have the loop guy like flying down the sewer grate,
Yeah,
right? Or
that shit
they
was
brought the
crazy.
giant squid into it and everything. And Dr. Manhattan looks pretty goofy in that show, and it's a whole
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, like it can work really well, and I think that's more of the vibe I get when they say something like Atrocitus. Is like I'm thinking of Watchmen 2019, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of exciting to me that they're gonna
Yeah.
go. If you're gonna do Green Lantern, go all out, right? Apparently, an actor that was cast in the show, Garrett Dillahunt, posted on his story for a little bit, and then he deleted it. Storyboard concepts of Green Arrow, which is interesting because if that is part of the show, he shouldn't be talking about it, but he did. And is that something that we think is reasonable to expect? Because Green Lantern and Green Arrow are pretty tied together, especially Jon Stewart in the comics.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put out of the question for that to be a trying to be a surprise that maybe got spoiled just now, but I'm curious. I don't know.
Casting someone who's older than Stephen Amell is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is. Maybe they want to do the lens of something like we're introducing Jon Stewart. With Batman, we're introducing the Bat family. Maybe they want to do a thing where we have established heroes. That's what they're establishing in Superman. But they have a lot of legacy heroes running around. And it's like 2 generations, maybe Young Justice style.
Yeah, it's just my problem is like how much
Because they're doing Teen Titans
longevity.
well. They're doing Teen Titans well.
How much
and that's
longevity do
the same
you
thing.
actually get out of this, though?
That's the question, right? And that all depends
Yeah.
on Superman and how things are going. And they obviously don't want to tie everything together super tight. But
Yeah.
maybe that's the type of world they're trying to establish is that, like, yeah, these heroes have been around that you know, and they're more wizened and in their, like, aged
Yeah.
years. And then we see... But the one caveat there is Superman is younger.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't normally be the case. It's interesting. I don't know. I think that I wouldn't mind seeing an older Green Arrow, but I'd like to see a young Playboy Green Arrow as well.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get the traditional comic experience ever in live action with the Stephen Amell version. Yeah, that's all I got this week. Next week, the plan right now is to start our Summer of Superman with Superman 1978.
Cool.
So, thank you for joining us this week, and hope to see you guys soon.